Hey guys, welcome to Pawnshop Special number 2. This is part 3 in the series, and in this one we're going to finish up the build on it to get it back up and running the way it should be, and we got the motor in. So the motor came in, and this one is brand new, so we're going to put this all together, show you how that works with the heatsink and whatnot. Also, the fans. This is the fan section right here, and these are missing blades and stuff, so they're out of balance. I don't even know if they work properly. They shouldn't, not the way they are. So we got new ones. There they are. So we've got 2 of these to put in as well. We'll get this all in the car and get it up and running. And then in this video, we're going to take it out and we're going to see how well it functions. At the end of the video, we'll give you a tally on what it costs to put this back together, what we paid for it, our investment basically in the car. So we'll know whether or not it was a good deal in the first place. I can already tell you it was a great deal, but still, we're going to go over the cost and let you know what it is. This should be a lot of fun this time, guys. Check this out. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right down on the bench and we'll get this motor installed. So here's the fan assembly right here, and we're going to want to get these out. Notice that they don't have any blades in several locations on these, so they're way out of balance. Even if they spin, they won't do a good job. So here we go. We want to get these out and be real careful. There are 4 latches here, so you need to pry the latch back. And I'm just going to grab inside here and lift. Go nice and easy. Oh, there we go. And now it's out. So we'll go ahead and disconnect this one. There you go. A lot of blades missing on that one. Get the next one out. Disconnect it. And let's have a look at that one. Ooh, there's only 2 blades left on that one. Okay, so here's the new one. And we've got 2 of these. And we want to get the orientation the same, so we want to get that wire up just like that. Go ahead and connect it. And here are your mounting points. There's 4 of those. It'll press directly down over that to hold its location. So make sure the wire is in the right spot and be careful not to pinch any of the wires putting this in. Same thing on the back. There we go. Let's get our connection. And then we'll tuck these down into place, and we'll try and get all the wires back up and out of the way so they don't interfere with the heatsink. There we go, just like that. All right, so here's the motor, and we've got a heatsink here that has, see the channels in it? They have to line up with the screws on the motor itself. So when you line these up, they have to line up like this to slide on correctly, and it goes on real easy. Okay, so there are 2 screws on each end that allow you to hook the heatsink up to the fan assembly, and it just goes between the fins, just like this. And of course, as usual, I got the fan assembly on backwards. We'll turn that around in a minute. The mounting points are the same, so we'll go ahead and put this together. There we go. Nice. Okay, so there's only one with the hole at the top. That will go on the shaft side, and it'll snap right down on that. Perfect. And it only has 1 screw here to hold this down. So we'll use this screw and fix it up nice and tight, and of course snug this down by hand. Always do your torquing by hand, guys. The back one on. There we go. We'll get this indexed so we can get the pinion on. And this little grub screw has to line up with that flat spot. There we go. And there's Loctite on this grub screw already, so I didn't have to add any new. I already had some on there. Here are your motor mount pins, and this is how you set it up for different spur gear and pinion gear sizes. And these little points help hold everything directly in place. It stops things from moving, which is really nice. And you'll notice that the pinion is lined up just right with the spur gear there, so I don't have to adjust that. There are the 4 screws in the bottom, and you always want to torque these by hand. There we go. Nice. Now we're going to go ahead and connect the fans to the radio. So we need to fish it through this one plate first. That's where you get your waterproofing. And then we need to go ahead and plug it down into the receiver. Right there. And let's go ahead and connect the wires while they're right there for the motor. Now for a power-up test, we're going to go ahead and use our 9500 milliamp hour batteries, and just to see that everything works. Power it up. The steering's functional, and the throttle works. So the new motor is connected properly, forward is forward and backward is backward, so that's good. Now we're going to go ahead and check for the fans, make sure everything is spinning. We do have positive airflow, that's a good thing. And the one up there on the speed control is working as well. Let's get the cover on the radio box. And this can be a little tricky to get in there, but it does go. Now be real careful torquing these down. Don't want to do one side all the way down, just get it down snug and then start the second side. There we go. And we want to do the back side as well. And this is the waterproofing area for the leads right there. Let's check our spacing. Feels good. Real nice. Everything spins freely. Now let's get the cover on that. There we go. Real nice. Torque them by hand. Let's give it a check. Nice and tight, no movement. There we go. A little inspection. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Go ahead and close down the battery boxes, and there we go. All right, so the motor's installed and it's all checked out, and everything seems to be working pretty well. The gear mesh is good, and those 2 little pins that help set the motor in place are pretty slick. And we did check, and it does have the stock gearing in it, so that's all good. However, we are not going to use the Badlands. We're going to put a set of X-maxx tires on it because we want to run it as stock as possible for this. And these are an old set, so they're not the greatest. They're a little out of balance, but they'll still work for our purposes to see if the repairs worked and make sure everything's working properly. Also, since this is going to be Tina's car, and I don't really want to destroy that beautiful green body, and we are going to do another video putting that together, but we're going to use, you probably recognize this one, we're going to use this body for the test. So if we do have any really bad accidents or anything, we'll destroy this one and not her body, and that will make that a lot easier. We can let it hang out a little bit better. This does have the RPM arm upgrade, and since the RPM arms are orange for most of the corners, it's going to look pretty cool just like that. So we'll snap the wheels and tires on it really quickly. We'll get the body installed, battery this thing up, and let's go see how it works. All right, the batteries are installed and we're ready to go. Let's do this. Found the clatter point. That's what it is. Okay guys, so there's the running footage for the test, and we found a construction yard not too far from here and went out and just sort of had a good time in what was there. And that's usually the kind of bashing that we do anyway. We take what we find and we have as much fun with it as possible. And of course we did have some failure, and if you heard the clatter in the video, that was this getting wedged up into the wheel and clattering on the inside. Pretty straightforward and simple. This one here is a stock bulkhead up here on the front. So this one right here, stock, it does have the RPM ones in the back, but when we do the upgrade, it's getting the RPMs in the front as well. So that'll take care of that problem. I wasn't really too worried about that, considering this was just a proof that all of the upgrades or all of the parts we put in it did work, and they do. This is a screaming deal, and of course everybody that's watching this already knows that because these are really expensive. But just to go through the cost for you so you know what it was, the car itself came in at $350 right off the bat just for a roller. I know that's a good deal anyway. We know the guy that had it. He sold it to us through the pawn shop because he was going to lose it. That's how we wound up with this one, and he wanted to see it on the channel, so that was cool too. Two, the motor was burned out in it. That one came in at $172 and change. We did have to put tires on it because I'm not a fan of the heavier tires, and I didn't want to change a bunch of internals to make that run properly. We want to run it as close to stock as possible because this is going to be Tina's truck and that's what she desires. So we bought a set of X-maxx tires for it. They were $120 online for the set. And then of course the fans on the motor right here, those had missing blades and all that stuff, so they had to be replaced as well if we were going to keep things nice and cool. We're not going to count the cost of this. That broke during our testing. That is what it is, not a problem there. It's something that will easily change back out. So that doesn't count in it. This came in at a total of $682.36 out the door as it is. Now that's with all this stuff on it, so that was definitely a screaming deal, coming in at just about half price, maybe a little over half price of a new one. Definitely worth the time and effort, and if you like wrenching, it's a bonus right there because you get to do that as well. So if you haven't already, don't forget to bash that like button and help our content spread. You know, when you buy a used RC, no matter where you get it from, it's always a good idea to pull it apart and have a look and see what's going on inside the car. You never know what the previous owner has done to it. like we learned in this one with the differentials having silly putty in there. Silly putty is really abrasive, and if I'd left it in there, it wouldn't have lasted long. So always pull things apart. Have a look at it. Make sure your suspension travel's all good and all that good stuff. Test your electronics and make sure everything works on the bench before you go out and run it, because if something's loose or something's not working properly, you don't want to be in the field when you discover that problem. Still, when you get a used RC and you get to build it, and you know we like to build stuff here, when you get to build it, be a high performance one or a stock one, it doesn't matter. If you pull the trigger and it thrills you, you got the right one, and that's what counts. How you run your RCs is your business, and if it makes you happy, you're not doing it wrong, with two caveats. As long as you don't put anyone in danger and you don't go on private property. You have to have permission for those two things. Keep people safe and run where you're supposed to, and the community benefits from that. If you guys have any comments that you'd like to add, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below and help others along the way. Hey guys, for AJ Jam Studios, I'm AJ saying, keep wrenching, guys.